Welcome to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host, TDT. You can refer to me as Miss T. Y'all saw the thumbnail. Which one of them are on the up and up? I wonder. Doesn't it make you wonder? We're going to talk about that and some other things. But first, let's turn to... Welcome back. It's Friday on this fine Friday evening. We're going to rock out a little bit, give people time to get up in here. Remember, I don't own the music or the song. For educational purposes only. Remember, I come on Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every day. Unless something happens. You know, a sister be on CP time sometimes, too. Rock out. Get your groove on. Remember to lean on that leezy when you step into the heezy. Hit the like button when you come into my square circle. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. For those of you who are looking at me through Facebook, stop what you're doing. Come on into the YouTube and hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Hook the sister up. Come on in. It's easy going music, huh? It's one of DC's finest bands, the Vibe Band. Uh-oh. Look at that beat. Get with it, get with it. I see y'all coming in. Come on, hit that like button when you come in. We might as well do the water check. You know, the first 2 times you need to drink water, if any, during the day. It's first thing in the morning before them toes hit the floor. Drink about 8 ounces before you brush your teeth, before you do anything. Your body is an engine. Get it lubed up, get it running. A lot of moving parts when you get up and going for the day. And at night before you go to sleep, before you close them eyes, not laying in the bed, looking at TV or doing something else, before you lay down for the night, make sure you drink 8 ounces of water. A lot of reads going on. Rebooting, recharging, revamping the system, cleaning the system out. You know you burn the most calories when you sleep. 900 to 1,000. Everybody's different. But 900 to 1,000 calories every night before you go to sleep. Make sure you have your water ready. Here at Boxing Fans Talk TV, we advocate for 100 ounces of water a night. Make sure you get your water in, people. It might just save your life. This music smooth as hell. Imagine yourself at a restaurant playing live music like this. This shit smooth as hell. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Well, you know, Canelo and Bivol had their weigh-ins tonight. Canelo came in at 174.4. Bivol came in 174.6. So they both made the weigh-ins. I didn't watch it. I saw a little clip. But this fight is going to be very interesting. Now, you know I'm on record for saying I'm not buying no Canelo fight. And I'm sticking to that. I feel that DAZN should give their earlier subscribers a solid and not charge them. I do see if you sign up for DAZN right now, you can pay. They got a good deal, but they should give us a solid. That's all I'm saying. But you can pay $19.99 for a subscription, and you'll get the next 30 days free. Or you can pay $149 outright, which is not far off of what you will pay for a fight. It's kind of like almost double what you'll pay for a fight singularly. But that would be for the whole year of DAZN. Apparently, DAZN is going to pay-per-view fights. I would say that since we're in May, that's probably a good deal too. But I'm sticking to my guns. Not every fight is going to be pay-per-view on DAZN, but of course, this is Canelo, so they paid him a lot of money, you know. They paid him up to 160 million. Up to could be 101 million, all the way up to 160. We know it has to be over 100 because that's what PBC offered him. Then, you know, there was a big controversy about that. Why PBC wanted to come out with what they were doing in the background while they were supposed to be doing something else. And this is why PBC is getting punished by a lot of folks. People are not buying their fights. Even Earl Smith missed the mark of what he normally does. Now, I know he's the big cash cow over there at PBC, but 240,000, if, you know, pay-per-view wise, if we're to believe that, is not a big stamp or a big mark on pay-per-view. It really ain't. Anybody can, you know, come through and, you know, debate that point of view. But I showed you guys in videos what was the record for pay-per-view. And just because you have a year where nobody's getting that record, then you can't turn around and say, oh, he's a pay-per-view star. You can't use that language no more because it's misleading. And what we don't want to do as YouTube content creators is be misleading. We don't want to do that. WJ is in the building. He says, salute Queen T. We need that contract for Bud. Yes, we should have had a countdown, WJ, like every day that there's not a contract. But I had said I was going to wait. What do you think? I said I was going to wait till May 15th to be like, okay, goddammit. It's been about a month. Where's the motherfucking contract? you quick on the draw, on the trigger when it came to Ugas and everybody else. You was ready to jump in that ocean with Canelo. Where's the contract? May 15 is a month. That's us being extra patient. You know that this is the fight we want to see. And that's why I'm going to talk about these controversies. The controversy between them. Because my thumbnail said, which one of are they on the up and up? Which one? I meant to say them. I don't know why it cut out the M. Which one of them are on the up and up, i.e. clean? Because that matters. Is anybody out there to think that that doesn't matter? But it matters. It matters going forward because we are tired of people getting caught cheating or cheating because you're cheating yourself. Not only are you cheating yourself, you're cheating the fans because we don't know how great you are. You can tell us you're great all day long, but if you're cheating, how do anybody know that? How do you yourself know that? You wouldn't know that, so we're going to talk about that in a minute. I'm going to give people time to get in. Make sure y'all hit that like button on the way in. Now, Conor Benn versus Jose Ramirez. Finally, that's a worthwhile fight. I'm just going to read some of the other news, but I'm going to get to that controversy. I'm just giving people time to get up in here. PGH Big Dog is in the building. He said, salute, Queen T. Salute to you too, King. Now, what do y'all think about Conor Benn fighting Jose Ramirez? We know that Jose Ramirez was the last puzzle piece to Josh Taylor becoming undisputed. We know that he's a dog. He's only had one loss, and that was to Josh Taylor. But finally, Conor Benn is going to fight somebody worthwhile. We know that he's Eddie Hearn's big ticket item as far as the welterweight division goes. Eddie Hearn tries to prop him up like he's all that in a bag of chips. But the way they've been moving him, you really can't come to that conclusion. ATL is in the building. What's Bobby King said, Miss T, what's up, shouty? What's up, ATL? So I'm just wondering, was it the pressure that because I know I've talked about it. I'm sure I'm not the only one who talked about it. Because we was like having a fit with the people that he was trying to match himself up with. And then at the same time being relevant conversations. The way he was moving, he was a prospect. He was moving like a prospect. But now he's going to fight Jose Ramirez. That looks a little bit more serious. You can put some weight on that a little bit, PGA said about damn time he stopped calling out AB, Khan, and Brooke. I feel you, PGH. About damn time. That's, your words exactly. But do you think he ready for somebody like a Boots Ennis? He damn sure ain't ready for Bud or Earl. We not pressed to see him ready for Bud or Earl. We don't care. We don't care nothing. And I mean absolutely nothing. Better get in between Bud and Earl. But we know they tried, huh? We know they tried. Not Bud, Earl team. We know they tried. And that's not me picking PGH. That's what they said out their own mouth. WJ Lucky said May 15 makes sense to me. Yeah, WJ, I'm trying to be fair. I mean, it will be a month pretty much from his last fight. Ample time. A lot of people like to say him and Ugas was already in the works. I've heard people say even before Ugas actually fought Pacquiao, it was kind of in the works, Or they'll bring up the fact that he was supposed to be Errol Spence mandatory years ago, but Earl didn't fight a lot of his mandatories. And although that might have been factual, but that has nothing to do with Terrence Crawford. And Earl should have been jumping on the draw, pulling the trigger, getting the contracts done to face Terrence, but he went for the Ugas route. What made that route comparable or acceptable? You know, a lot of us didn't fall off the deep end because he went the route of Ugas, because Ugas had a belt and Ugas validated the fact that he has a belt by beating Manny Pacquiao. But nevertheless, Ugas was not supposed to be on the agenda. How I see it is, it wouldn't have mattered if he fight Ugas or Terrence. They both could only offer him one thing, and that was one belt. So if we're waiting for Terrence, then let's get it done. Bud needs to stop his BS, make the damn fight, and stop the Twitter fingers Bud has. PGH, why is it Bud's responsibility? You say that all the time. I hear you, King. But why is it Bud's responsibility? It doesn't match up to everything else you guys say. If it's Bud's responsibility, are you now saying Bud is the A side? Are you now saying that Bud did the heavy lifting? I mean, I'm curious to know. I know I ask you this all the time, and you give me some answers, but nothing was ever really clear, PGH. I got to be honest. How is it Bud's responsibility if he's the B side? You know, I can't speak for other channels. I have capitulated, PGH. I said that Bud is the B side. Ray New Sarters is in the building. What's popping, King? He said, hello, my queen, at work and in the building, TBC. Indeed. Salute, King. Well, PGH, you really got to tell us, what is it that Bud can do specifically? The link is in the chat if you want to come through. Or anybody. Can anybody explain? What does Bud got to do specifically so we know? So we can be aware of what is it that we're missing to get the fight done? What is his specific role? Like, what do he have to specifically do? Do he have to write the contract and present it to Earl? If he do, then that negates the argument that Earl is the A side. What does he have to specifically do? If you say sign the contract, I can roll with that, but he has to have a contract to sign. That means he has to be presented with one. If he's not presented with one, then how can he sign one? PGH, these are real relevant questions. So enlighten us as to what he specifically got to do. But while we're waiting on that, you know, I will say, you know, Conor Benn, if he fights Jose Ramirez, I will watch that fight with eagerness. It will tell me some things, maybe. But then I just thought about this. Hold on. I might have to retract that. Jose Ramirez is a 140 pound. Did he move up to 147 without telling nobody? Last time I checked, Jose Ramirez was 140, not 147. And Conor Benn is 147. So, Conor, I gave you some props way before I should have. I just thought about this. I said, wait a minute. They in different weight classes. So maybe Conor Benn has to figure out what weight class he want to be a part of. He need to figure out what is his stamp on his boxing career or in boxing. Because we don't know. In one breath, you claim that you're a welterweight, and by taking on Jose Ramirez, you're junior welterweight. Which one is it? Now, in other news, the WBA president, Gilberto Jesus Mendoza, or whatever. And that's the Venezuelan belt. The headquarters for WBA is in Venezuela. I don't know if they're imitating or it's just going with the flow, because 3 of the sanctioning bodies are in Latino territories. The WBO is held in Puerto Rico, headquartered, and WBA is in Venezuela, and the WBC is in Mexico City. So I don't know, but they have announced that they're offering a special belt. I believe it's a commemorative belt to celebrate the 100th anniversary of their organization. Damn. So the WBA came online in 1922. They're going to have both of the pics of the fighters on them. This is for, what's their name? Bivol and Canelo. They're going to have both of their faces on there. And Canelo is a 5-1 favorite in this fight. That sounds pretty good. Do y'all think that's something that y'all might want to get your bet on? 5-1 favorite. Wow. I mean, to bet on Bivol, you might come up in something. You might have a come up. $50 can go a long way. You know what I'm saying? PGA says Ramirez and Taylor were both thinking about moving up. It's only 7 pounds. No issue to me. I hear you, PGH. It would seem to be like that. Common sense would be like, oh no, it's not that big a deal. But they have weight limits for a reason, and apparently it is in some kind of way. It's a big deal. But if you're thinking about it, using your common sense, you would think, what's 7 pounds between two people? I mean, that ain't shit, right? Especially females will be like, what's 7 pounds between two girls? So I'm assuming you can feel that way about a guy. But I will say that in boxing, they have weight limits for a reason. And those reasons prove to be relevant when you see them going outside the range or the limits of what they're supposed to do. Because when they get to the fight, the truth of the matter is 9 times out of 10, they weigh over 147, but they have to show up at 140. So I haven't read anything that said what weight they're going to actually fight at, but Ramirez is a junior welterweight and Conor Benn is a welterweight. So if they're doing catchweight, it doesn't look good for Conor Benn. It might look good for Jose Ramirez because he's pushing the limit. He's daring to be great. But it don't look like that for Conor Benn. And I spoke up and just said that Conor Benn, this is more worthwhile because Jose Ramirez is a formidable opponent. He is the goods. But I clearly forgot about the fact that they're in 2 different weight classes. So I have to rescind or have to take back what I just complimented Conor Benn on, because he's still missing the mark. You have Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz. If you want to go back to Jamal James, you got a lot of people in the 147 division that you could fight, but you're not going to fight them. You got Buetev, Stanionis. You got a couple of people you could fight to show that you're serious about being a welterweight, because right now we can't take you serious, Conor Benn. I know you think you're a dog and you seem like you're a dog. You're getting people out of there. You're aggressive as hell when you fight. You be trying to take their head off. All of that's fine and good. But the opponents that you're picking, and I wouldn't call them tomato cans or washed up. We got to put more respect on people who do step into the square circle, even if they stepping in with our favorite fighter. Because just to do that is way better than anything we could ever do. You know what I'm saying? But he's not even moving in his own division like he wants to be a top contender. not alone a champion. So what do y'all think now? Like, I mean, it blew right past me that Jose Ramirez is a junior welterweight, and I apologize for that. That's why I'm correcting it right now. As far as the WBA was, they will be no different. It seems like every time Canelo fights, somebody makes a special belt for him. I'm gonna tell you that one he got for fighting Caleb Plant. That motherfucker is tight. I showed y'all the picture yesterday. That was a beautiful belt. He got one. He got a couple of them. My understanding with WBC is commemorative belts. It's probably more so eye candy because I don't think that you have to pay any fees for that. But I mean, those belts are well done. Maybe it has precious stones, but it damn sure got precious metals on it. So I don't know. Sir Antbo is in the building. He got Bud running like hell from the big fish. You you always have that emoji. I hear you, King. But all in all, y'all ready for this fight this weekend? Now I got my hardware, and I'm going to attempt to try to call a fight if I can get it up on this new TV I bought. I want to thank you guys in advance for all the cash apps that you send because I use the money that you send for the studio to improve the studio or to make it better, the optics and everything of it all. I don't really use the money on myself. I use it for the studio purposes. I have real professional shit in here. Like I have a real mixer, real mics. Like my mic itself is $200, over $200. So I use you guys' money plus some of my own to put into here. I got real what they call these lights, like actually professional lights on tripods and green screens and mixers and shit like that. And this is actually my third mixer, and this mixer costs a lot. So, like I said, I use you guys as cash apps, and I use a little bit of my own money. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. It is much appreciated. WJ said if Bud has to make, I guess, the contract or the fight, then he is the A side. Yes, PGH, you never answered that. If Bud has to come up with the contract, because you keep saying he need to stop playing and make the fight, basically signing the contract. You said that before. So I'm asking PGH, this is just a question. Does that mean that you guys feel now that Bud is the A side? That's a relevant question. That is a good, relevant question. So while we wait on PGH to answer that one, or anybody else who wants to answer, ATL, you can answer. ATL, I put the in that. But there's a lot of controversy and barriers leading up to this fight. As far as the business is concerned, I think all of us out here in YouTube streets can agree we rather for them to do it behind closed doors and tell us about it later. You know what I'm saying? But because the controversy was what it was, and we were all talking about different things, I'm thinking there's still going to be some lingering conversation. We just need to, maintain our composure and our, emotions when talking about such things. In the end of the day, we're just people out here with opinions. They don't know us, and we can't really speak for them. So we can speculate. And don't be afraid to say, I guess, or I speculate, because that's all we're doing anyway. What I'm cooking on, well, I was talking about the weigh-ins, how they made weight. I was trying to give Conor Ben some credit because now I feel like he's fighting a worthwhile opponent in Jose Ramirez. Not to put down none of his other opponents because I don't like to do that. But then I thought about it. Jose Ramirez is a junior welterweight, and Conor Benn is a welterweight. So again, he's moving funny for somebody who wants to be the creme de la creme. He don't show it. He don't show it in his movements. Because why would you reach backwards when there's plenty of people you can reach right in your weight division that's not Bud or Earl? We're not trying to hear none about no damn Conor Benn trying to squeeze in with the Earl or squeeze in with Bud. We ain't trying to hear that shit. In fact, we will consider it an act of war if Eddie Hearn tried to do some shit like that. Just the fact that he just trying to do it is enough for us to come out of pocket. Then I was talking about the WBA and how the President Mendoza has announced that he's gonna make a special belt for this Canelo and Bivol fight. And I was talking about how Canelo gets all these special belts, but this one is a commemorative. And I know through WBC, their commemorative belts, you don't pay no sanctioning fees. WBC, out of the 4 sanctioning bodies, is the only one that I'm aware of that continuously making up belts. They got more belts for your ass than anything. Like, I would not blame people if they start being like, man, fuck all them belts. You know what I'm saying? It's just team too much. But now the WBA feel like every year they're gonna do something too. This one is to celebrate their 100th anniversary of being in business. So, like I said, 1922, they came in online. You know what I'm saying? Then the other sanctioning bodies that were there before these belts came along, and WBA, WBO, WBC, IBF, before all of them came along, you had them four acronym type title belts, like the NABF or something, stuff like that. And oddly enough, they still exist. They still exist. But all of this shit is getting confusing. They need to dwindle down to just one belt. Fuck this super champion, regular champion, franchise champion, all this other dumb shit. Emeritus, the one I read yesterday, champion, because all that do is allow you to go ahead and retire. Because that's the thing about retiring. If you retire, you might really feel that way right now, but in 1 or 2 years, you may change your mind, as we often see boxers do. So the WBC has provided a way where you can come right back and get in where you fit in, where you left off. Now, how is that fair, or how does that make sense to anybody but who they trying to cake for? And that's what the WBC is trying to offer Tyson Fury, because really what they want to do is just, start the ball rolling again and making money. And the only person that can make them the kind of money they want is Deontay Wilder. But Deontay Wilder probably have to think about that. I'm not speaking for him. I have not spoken to him. I don't know what he's planning on doing. But I mean, don't shit on Deontay and then come back when you want him and you need him. It really ain't no big time heavyweights right now. I mean, there's a lot of them in the stable, but who's top dog? Who's the money maker? Usyk is off the war. Joshua is waiting on Usyk. And Deontay, we're not sure what he's going to do. I'm not saying either way. I'm not saying he retired. I don't have no signs that says, oh, he wants to retire. I don't have no signs that says he want to continue. He was only out because of a broken hand. That's it. He had to do his time. Just like if you get cut, you got to wait, I want to say 3 months before you try to come back. They won't let you fight no sooner. So that was the only thing, so he is now coming off of that restriction. So we'll have to see. He'll have to let us know. But the WBC wants him in action because they want to make that money. But as I said before, Tyson Fury has served his purpose. Because at that time, they just needed somebody to beat Deontay. They need somebody white to beat these black fighters, and any white man would do. So it was Tyson Fury. Even though They personally do not like this man. They don't want him to represent. He's bad news. He's bad for their brand. But he probably, out of anybody, going to get the job done. So they going to cake for his ass when they can. ATL said, yeah, that's that bullshit. What bullshit? Oh, you talking about what I was just talking about? I said, what I do, ATL? Damn. But they gonna give Canelo this belt, and he's a 5-1 favorite. So get y'all bets ready. Now the question I did ask, which one of them is on the up and up, i.e. clean? I'm just talking about the controversy of it all. Okay? Because as one of you guys say, WJ Luckett was like, where is the contract? PGH says, Bud need to stop playing and make the fight. Both sides are waiting. We're waiting. And nothing's happening. So, again, I posed the question, PGH, I'm still waiting on your answer. I'm still waiting. Look, y'all, I didn't ruin my voice with surgery, smoking. Back in the day, I used to smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke them no more. I think I burned the fuck out my neck, my throat. So I can't even barely carry a tune. And I used to. I won't know with me. I had a thing. I had a little thing. I'm mad about that because that was part of me, But I did it to myself. So I'm gonna be mad at myself. So I decided to just dive in some of these controversies. Y'all ready to go on this ride? So take y'all blood pressure pills first. I don't want nobody getting all upset and hot and bothered and all that stuff. So I decided to take the many questions that I keep hearing because I feel like they've been explained backwards and forwards. And people either still have questions or they're still confused or whatever. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk about them. So here's the first one. Why is Bob being sued? Why is Terrence suing Bob? That's a question that I keep hearing because people seem to want to lump that in like, Terrence, it was all Bob. Bob kept you from this. Why you keep blaming Earl? Why do people say Earl ducked? Why do they say PBC, made it so Earl can duck? And so their answer is Earl is not ducking. And the proof in the pudding is why Terrence, he blaming everybody but himself. And the reason why a lot of people, I ain't point out nobody specifically, but the reason why a lot of people keep saying that or going to that well of the proof is in the pudding, you're suing Bob. Like that don't even make sense. I don't know how that don't make sense. I don't know how you negate if for the person's opinion that, let's say, Earl is ducking. People could say Terrence is ducking. But whether or not somebody is suing somebody or not does not answer or negate that question or those folks' opinions. That is not the tangible thing you grab to explain your opinion because it has nothing to do with it either way. So I'm going to break it down simple, plain. You enter into an agreement in this country. It could be verbal or written. When you went and got your cell phone, you entered into an agreement. If you don't do what they asked you to do or expect you to do, you have now broke their agreement. But when it's in writing, there lies the rub. It's called accountability. How do you hold people accountable for things they write? You take them to court and you sue them. And going to court and being sued should act as a deterrence for many reasons. Why? Because it costs money to go to court. You got to get a lawyer, time out your day. That's a reason that people may not want to go to court. Two, there's discovery. And discovery really should be number one. When you go to court and you sue people, they're going to open the books about everything, not just your particular situation or that corner part of what you're suing. They're going to open all the books. And three, the shit going to be public. So now some things that you might not care about if the court sees it or hear about it in your court case, or the person who's suing you, you might not care if they know. But because it's public now, it might be somebody out there who can watch it like everybody else, who you might not want to know. You know what I'm saying? You might have been lying or scheming off of somebody who had no clue until they opened the books in discovery. Now, they got a case against you. It might be found out that you're actually breaking laws. Now, the government got to get at you. So you see where I'm going with this. These are deterrents. These are barriers why you don't want to go to court. But they also can serve as a way to make a person act right. If you agree to something and you don't live up to your agreement, especially if you put it in writing, why aren't you doing that? That's the big question. Why? And what's supposed to happen to you when you do that? Because in order for you to have an agreement that you sign and declare that you will do, the other person in the agreement did something for you. It's puff, puff, give. Both of y'all agreed to do something. Both of y'all had something to do. If one person lived up to the agreement and the other person didn't, there is a problem. So I don't feel like I should have said all that, because I think it's all self-explanatory. But it does drive me ape shit when I hear somebody use that as an excuse to negate one's opinion on whether somebody's supposed, why, if it's, like the ducking question, or either way, or it's really his fault, because if he had not signed with Bob, you know what I'm saying? I it does drive me apeshit. But I'm a mature adult, so I maintain my composure. I don't hate nobody for it. It drives me apeshit because I don't understand how people can't see that clearly. Now, Fred from Barbershop Conversations, E Thriller, and others, many of these YouTube content creators specifically pulled up that paperwork, that lawsuit. And I know on Fred's show, read it line by line. And it was a lot of lines. It was written in English for the world to see. But like I said, it's not just Fred. Other people did. Others may have gotten it and read it themselves and reported on it in YouTube. But if he put it on the YouTube where all of us could see it, because he showed it as he read it, then why would anybody come back and still say he's suing them for racism, when clearly that's not what the suit is about? Or they making it be more simple than what it is. So the basic bottom line is, the answer to that controversy that is still lingering out there, and I hope I can put an end to it. Please hit the like button while you're in here. Why is Bob being sued by Terrence Crawford? because Bob did not adhere or live up to his agreement that he signed in the contract with Terrence Crawford. Now, whether we feel that Terrence shouldn't have signed with them or all of this stuff, or why was they together and Bob did this and Bob did, is neither here or there. Bob agreed to something. Terrence agreed to something. Terrence lived up to that something, and Bob did not. So therefore, Bob owes him money. Now, yes, some people think you should let it go. I don't know about you, but I ain't letting go no fucking millions. I maybe can't do that. But isn't that up to that person? Why would that be scrutinized if that person feel like they don't want to let it go? And apparently he has not let it go. And if you can look and tell when shit hit the fan or something is hitting on Bob, because that's when Bob get a little vicious. He got a little venom coming out. You know, recently he tried to shit on Terrence Crawford character again in the public. Nobody asked him what he about this in Terrence Crawford fight and whether Bud could beat him or not. Nobody asked him. But he sure damn told you. And he shitted on his former workmate. Because technically these promoters work for the fighter. It is hard for me to say, you know, the fighter worked for him. I won't give that kind of air. I won't let shit like that breathe, because then we're playing into their narrative. That's exactly how these fighters are being treated, like they work for the promoter. The promoter wouldn't even have a business, wouldn't even make no money if you didn't have people who had a desire to be a combat sport person. If those people could have chose any career in their life, but they chose to do combat sports, i.e. boxing. And therefore, people like a Bob who couldn't bust a motherfucking grape in his life, he ain't never looked athletic. He gets to get rich off of gifts that people got from God. Their athleticism, their ability to do the impossible. Because I don't know about y'all, but I'm not running no 8 miles. Renaissance Rain is in the building. What's popping, King? I'm assuming you're a king. If you're a queen, let me know. They point out the racism component because it is controversial. Yeah. It's deflection is what it is too. He said, right, Top Rank seems to have been in breach of contract. That is what the suit is for. You can go to any other YouTube creator, content creator, whoever they may be. If they tell you it's about racism or anything else, they lying. You have to, it's a matter of public record. You can go get access to that yourself. You can go rewatch the different YouTube content creator shows who actually showed you the paperwork. It's a matter of public record. So when you say that, it's almost like you saying 2 + 2 = 5. Because I have to look sideways at you. I have to explain niggas like you. Like, how you don't understand what a breach of contract means, and that's a relevant thing to be sued. So the breach, for the most part, was, okay, Bob, I'll sign back with you. You have to pay me a minimum of XYZ. Bob is like, check, I'll agree. And specifically to this breach, if I fight Egis Kavalauskas, i.e. Mean Machine, then you're going to pay me for not getting the Errol Spence fight. So basically, you got to get the Errol Spence fight for me. I don't want to hear about no Mean Machine, Amir Khan, Kell Brook, all these other folks. get me Errol Spence. This is what Bud was saying. If you don't get me Errol Spence, he didn't say if it's your fault, if it's Earl's fault, if it's PBC fault. He's saying, as my promoter, if you don't get me that fight, meaning you don't bring it all the way home, then you're going to have to pay me an extra meal. I'm rounding up. Bob said, cool. And then Bob proceeded to not bring that fight home, but also did not pay him. Also in their contract, he was to have a minimum amount of fights per year. Come rain, snow, sleet, or hail, he has to have those fights. Now remember, he has a minimum Bob has to pay him. So had he had the fight, in Bob's eyes, because he didn't have the fight, he's not going to pay him. But see, in a situation like that, whether you have the fight or not, the minimum has to get paid. If you want to let him sit on the Chef Bob and make the minimum for nothing, then that is your problem. But if you sign a contract saying, I'm going to pay you this minimum, let's say the minimum is $5 million, and you got to give me 2 fights a year, that's $10 million. That's what I expect by close of business December 31st at the end of the year. If you don't give me $10 million, then you have breached our contract. You can't say, oh, I didn't give you a fight, so that's why I didn't give you the other 5. That's not Terrence's problem. That's Bob's problem. So Bob missed the fight, number one. He also didn't pay the extra meal for not getting the Errol Spence fight. That's, what is that, about $5 million? We up to $5 million? Plus other stuff. And then when you take somebody to court and you sue them, because you got to go through all this shit and the evidence is obvious, first and foremost, you're not even going to get a court date unless you have standing. I've said that before. Standing means you have a relevant point. You have a court-worthy suit. So we're going to take this suit on. If your suit was frivolous or bullshit, the court would be like, get the fuck out of my face. The fact that the court didn't say that, then it wasn't frivolous. You, me, or anybody else cannot call it frivolous. If a judge who know what the fuck they doing, been to school to be a lawyer, passed the bar exam, became a judge, know more than you and I, and they accept the court case, then you and I cannot turn around and say it's frivolous. PGA said frivolous lawsuit by Bud. Make the big fight, Bud. Didn't they throw the lawsuit out already? I'm not aware of that. But how do you, PGH, say it's frivolous when a judge don't say it's frivolous? You got to answer that one for me. Because neither can I, PGH. I'm saying for myself. I can't call it frivolous. You can't call it frivolous. The judge didn't call it frivolous. Between us three, who know more? That's how you personally feel. Facts over feelings. We have to be facts over feelings. That's how you feel. That's not how I feel. But now we have two differences of opinions. But you and I don't matter. It's the judge. Then you said make the big fight. But again, I'm still waiting for you to tell me specifically what he has to do. Because if it's something legitimate, PGH, I'll swear I'll get behind you. Say, all right, Bud, yeah, you got to do that. Tell me how Bud makes the fight. And I don't think that they threw the lawsuit out. I haven't heard anything on that. That's how I'll answer that one. Renaissance Rain said, brother PBH, Would it be frivolous for you to sue a business that owes you money? I know fools that'll kill you over owing them $50. Top Rank seems to owe Bud millions. Exactly. He said he's trolling. Nah, Renaissance, he not trolling. He really does. That's his opinion. He really does feel that way. But PGH, by what you're saying, is proving that it's your feelings. It's not facts. You're proving that you feel, therefore this, that, and the other, but you're not proving the facts say, therefore this, that, and the other. And it's always facts over feelings, right? So he breached the contract. Now, Bud, sure, can ride off into the sunset and forget about the millions that Top Rank owes him. Or he don't have to. I don't see how that bothers anybody. I don't see how that bothers anybody. If I come to any one of you houses and I damage your property, you know that it's going to cost money for you to repair your property. And you want it repaired back to specs like it was before or better. And I tell you, I don't owe you shit. What is your recourse? What happens next? Do you eat that? Do you take it out my ass? Or do you take me to court? I would say the last two could be the same. It ain't no telling. If I come to you and bust out every window in your car and say you pay for it, what do you do then? Do you beat my ass? Or do you take me to court? Have I done something egregious to you that now costs you money? You cannot make somebody do something for you and then be like, psych, I was just lying. You can't do that. In a sense, that's what Bob's doing. I'm going to make you, Terrence Crawford, do what I want you to do. I'm going to tell you and put it in writing that I'm going to do X, Y, Z, but I ain't doing shit. Now, a lot of you guys would say, well, that's what Terrence get. Really? So my next question would be like, what has he ever done to make anybody feel like that's what you get? Like all black men should get retribution, except you, Terrence Crawford. Is that facts or is that feelings? And why would you have that feeling? You like his potential opponent so much that he doesn't deserve to be treated like a grown man. He doesn't deserve to be treated fairly. He doesn't deserve to be able to seek retribution. Only your man can. Only your favorite guy can. But not Terrence. Is that feelings over facts? That's what it sounds like. So I didn't want to go too in depth about the lawsuit. But in case, if anybody come back and say that it's frivolous, you're in your feelings. I have to say that. I have to be firm with that. I'm not trying to pick or be mean to anyone, or to talk out the side of my neck. I have to call it like it is. You are in your feelings at that point when you're trying to mislead what that suit is about or say that it's frivolous and he shouldn't do it because you wouldn't take that shit. Every last one of us in here, if somebody owe us millions, we want it. If we have an open and shut case, we're going to go do it. Okay? Because it's not right to get somebody to do some shit and then don't keep up your end of the bargain. ATL, you be talking about who still owe you in the bets. And that's just a simple bet. Imagine if a motherfucker owe you millions. You know what I'm saying? So I hope that going forward that people understand that. I know people watch me in the replay. It is not about a racism thing. Sure, that's going to come up. That's what happens in discovery. All of that will come up. It's going to be before a jury trial. That means 12 people is going to be listening. It's a suit, so I don't know. It could be more than 12, but these people are going to be listening to what he's suing them for, and they're going to have to judge him on his character. And that's any court case, even criminal. Hence the word character witness. People have to speak on your character because it helps the jury understand where your head was at. It helps the jury understand or determine your motivation, your motive for doing what you do. And sometimes when you find out a person's character or their motive, all bets are off. All bets are off. Especially if they can concede that this dude is racist and he does this to all black fighters. Here's proof that he did it going far back as the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and the whatever. Renaissance Rain said there's a 12-person jury for the civil trial. Can't it be a indictment thing? What is that? Not indictment, grand jury. Can't you have grand jury for civilian stuff too? I don't know, or alternates or whatever. But 12 is the usual. Okay. I think grand juries do 25. So, however they work that out, it's not advantageous to Bob to let that go through. And the only way, because the people who don't like Bud don't know him and can't speak intelligently for the moves he gonna make. He tricks you guys every time. You don't know him. I don't even know him good enough to say what move he gonna make next. I can speculate, but I damn sure know this. Anybody who don't like him, he knows you don't like him, and he would never tell you shit. So we can't say that Bud threw out the case. Because either Bud's got to throw the case out or they got to settle out of court, which means Bob has got to capitulate and say, fuck it, here, man. Here go $15 million. Because last time I checked, Bud wasn't canceling shit. So none of us know Bud well enough to know that he was going to let go of that case. And the judge can't throw it out neither. The judge would never accept it if it won't legit from the jump. He would never. Standing. Y'all can look that up. Standing. Maceo Golden is in the building. Was popping king. He said, hello, my queen. So let me move off of that. That suit, bottom line, is for breach of contract. Cut the racist shit out. Cut that bullshit out because you're in your feelings. It's for breach of contract. And if it happened to you, you would do the same thing. You know you would. People tripping on bets. And this man owed this other man millions of dollars and he ain't gonna go for it. Come on now. None of us in here will sit by and let that happen when we know we got the proof, the paperwork, and everything to show that you were telling the truth. And that's what Bud has. Or he would have never took it to court. Renaissance Rain said it's unbelievable that just because these people prefer another fighter, that now Bud doesn't deserve a fair shake at anything. It's madness and illogical. That's the part that gets the Buzz fans in the uproar, people, because a lot of people be talking like this man he's nothing. He's beneath them. He don't deserve fairness. He because he signed with Bob, because he made a business choice. He ain't break no law. Bob was one of many promoters he could have signed with. But because he chose that man, then somehow or another, he's scum. People be in their feelings. So again, facts over feelings. Anybody who can't do that, you're in your feelings, dog. This is why some people call some folks heterosexuals and this, that, and the other. And this is why we be saying in a joking way, put the oil down, because y'all be in your feelings. Now, let's get to the other controversy. Why Tim Smith say what he said? If you look at the latest things that have happened, speculation can dictate that he was probably trying to convince Canelo at that time. Look, Canelo, look, we're going to put it out on Front Street. We don't want Bud. And to prove it to you, we're going to send Tim Smith out to say what he say. Because we didn't know why he came out of left field with that shit. We didn't fucking know. But Tim Smith, to sum it up, is why I'm protesting the PBC and probably others. Maceo Golden said, "What's up, WJ? And what's up, Coach? Yeah, what's up, New Media Today, USA Boxing? What's up, Coach Malachi? Salute to you, King. Peace to Miss T." So we didn't know why. It stirred up controversy, didn't it? But now we know some extra shit. But at the time, we didn't know shit. What we know now? We know that around that time, I guess Canelo was on his, not Canelo, Errol Spence was on his fourth plan. Because where did Canelo fit into the plan? I already proclaimed that there was 3 plans. And I don't pull them out my ass or the side of my neck. I pull it out from Errol Spence's mouth himself. You can't say I made it up. I just call it a plan because that's what it looked like. Go and get the Jeff Horn belt, and then you can come holler at me. We'll work something out. Terrence, go get the Jeff Horn belt. That's plan number 1. Hey, Errol. Hey. This is me raising my hand like I'm Terrence Crawford. Hey, Errol. Hey, I got the belt like you said. Can we work this out? Well, how about I take the easy way out, or take the easy route, and let me go fight Sean Porter and this person and that person, everybody but Bud, and then I come for you. Let me clean up my side of the street, and then I come for you. As Terrence said, Keith Thurman, you want to go over here, and now Earl, you want to go over there. But first, it was just get the belt. I got the belt. Okay, plan 2. You gonna clean up your side of the street, i.e., everybody with the PBC. But you didn't want to fight Keith Thurman, and I understand that you was mad. I don't say that you was ducking. I take it as you was mad at Keith because Keith was ducking you, according to you, and according to many. And Keith was coming up with excuses not to face you. He was stiff-arming you, and you didn't like that. But then you turn around and adopted his ways and stiff-armed Terrence, and we don't like that. So here's that second plan. We clean up my side of the street. Now, I'm the only one, I think, that have been saying third plan. A lot of people probably see it that way too, but I know I've been yapping at the mouth on that one. I'm probably solo on that. But third plan being, I got 2 more fights. And it wasn't clear to me that Ugas was one of those fights. So then that means Terrence Crawford is the other. But we know between all that time, Terrence has signed a 2-fight deal with PBC, or a 3-fight deal with PBC. Terrence turned down Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman's supposed to fight Earl next. I mean, all this bullshit that been put out, which is nothing but bourgeois bullshit. Front row seat to some bullshit, in fact. Because none of that ever happened. Ever happened. But just sticking by the plan that Errol Spence has, he said, I got 2 more fights, and then I'm moving up. That's another plan. Now, those are the ones we knew about. Tim Smith comes out, and he says, and I'm capsulizing this or paraphrasing it, basically, yeah, we ain't had shit for Terrence. Not in the past, not in the present, and not in the future. Fuck Terrence Crawford. We ain't giving them shiznit. We ain't giving them nothing. So I'm sitting here like, what? Motherfucker, what you say? You mean I've been paying for your fights all year round, regardless whether they was top notch or not. I'm supporting. I done bought every Earl fight. And y'all motherfuckers had no plans of ever hooking a fight up when you know the fans want to see it. But you make us buy your raggedy shit that you've been putting together all year. Okay, my brother, we through. Thanks for now letting us know. So, my next question was, did you tell Earl that plan? Did you tell him that, look at here, Earl, I know the fans out there be yapping off at the mouth, but look at him. We ain't never gonna match you up with Terrence. We ain't never gonna put a fight together. We ain't never gonna do none of that. So just know that that's our position, and we don't care what you say out there in the Twitter sphere and all that stuff and social media or in them YouTube streets. We don't give a care. Renaissance Rain said, I hope we get the fight. But it seems from the beginning, Spence and PBC have made it clear there's no plan for Crawford fight. I hope Spence isn't pretending he wants to fight so he won't lose face. Of course, he gonna have to pretend. Because then they tell him, look at here, Spence, we ain't doing it. So, as long as you know, I don't care what you say. And then think about all the controversial remarks and the back and forth on both sides. Spence did not give his fans a clue, not one iota, that the fight with Terrence was never going to be possible. He didn't give nobody an inkling that was the case. But Tim Smith let us know in January, didn't he? So I asked the question, and I will always ask this question to somebody who knows the answer it. Did you actually tell your boy, Errol Spence, the big fish, the heavy lifter, the cash cow at PBC, did you at least do a solid and tell him what your intentions was as his promoter? Did you tell him? Because, far be it for the PBC to let Errol Spence wander around in America and on the YouTubes and on social media and act like he wants to fight, act like he got a plan, but really have no intentions of ever putting this fight together. Far be it for that. D. Young is in the building. He said all these deflections. Indeed. You see where I'm going with this? So, did the PBC leave him in the dark? Or did the PBC tell him from the jump? So, hey, if the PBC told him from the jump, then Earl, what was the 80-20, the 60-40, the 70-30, or you get whatever the fuck I give you? What was all the other talk? I'm the big fish. Why wasn't you as a leader? Because you're the leader. You definitely a leader of your fans. So is Bud. Why couldn't you curtail your fans and get them straight? Like, whoa, Kemosabe. Whoa now. The guys at PBC don't want to pay Terrence shit. That fight never gonna happen. You mean to tell me that's something that you couldn't say to your fans? That's impossible? Or were you walking around in the dark? And if you were, shame on PBC. Because what a thing to do to your big fish, your heavy lifter, your cash cow, What a thing to do. That just shows you how much respect they got for you. That they will allow you to walk around in the dark and be popping your shit and don't even have a clue that behind the scenes, they ain't gonna give you shit. That fight ain't going down. But we want you to go out there and act like it is. We want you to keep up pretense. Because now the PBC think that they be doing stuff, they be dropping nuggets. Like sometimes people drop nuggets thinking they doing something else, but then they open a whole can of worms. I'm gonna give you an example. A few months ago, Mikey Garcia was trying to prove something about his medical shit, so he let his medical paperwork out. I don't give a fuck what y'all think. I would never let my personal medical record just be out on Front Street or whatever. I'm just not doing it. Now, I can always say never, but shit, right now, never. But Mikey Garcia did that. I don't know what he felt he needed to prove to anybody, but he did that. And everybody was looking at it and, critiquing it and shit. And I saw that under ethnicity, or race, this motherfucker put white. See, he was trying to do something else and prove something else. And he wound up making himself look crazy because what the whole world's witness is that, dude, you are anything but white. Ain't no fucking way. White people do not claim you. But it's odd. You of all people, and you're on the dark side of Mexican, hair black as hell. But you claim white. How much shame you got to have in your own self? This is what people start laughing at. And this is why they start calling him Whitey Garcia. And guess what? He took all that shit down. And people probably have since fell back on it. But that's what happens when you call yourself dropping nuggets. Like you showing something else, but then you actually revealing something different. I.e. Tom Brown recent remarks. Renaissance Rain said, I believe Spence is in on the plan. Seems when Spence and Bud had their face-to-face, he told Bud what his plan was and admitted it did not include him. I hope the fight happens, though. We shall see. I'm starting to believe it ain't. I'm starting to believe that it's not. Don't tell me no goddamn more. This man stick to his plans and he do what he say he gonna do. Because he was ready to jump his ass in another frying pan with Canelo quicker than shit. None of us was the wiser. Because according to Tom Brown, Errol Spence was with that shit. He was with it. Now, common sense. Of course, if Canelo come and offer you the sweepstakes, who the fuck gonna turn that down? Because you're gonna be a millionaire afterwards. Right? Hold tight, Dion. You're gonna be a millionaire afterwards. So common sense, yeah, you're gonna jump on that. But is that part of the plan? And what is the problem, Earl, with updating even your fan base on your moves? Stop telling folks, so far he did exactly what he said. No, he fucking didn't. It's 3 fucking plans I counted. Now it's 4 if you count the fact that you were willing and ready to jump in there with Canelo. See, to Canelo, you're a guppy. You're not the big fish. You ain't shit compared to this man. And Canelo will destroy you. And that is not me being, hating on Spence or nothing. I don't even like Canelo. I think he overall sucks as a fighter, but I can't deny that waist up. I can't deny it. I can't deny or act like I don't see that he didn't pick up some shit when he fought Floyd, because he showed to move his head now. Canelo do a whole lot of fainting that he didn't used to do. But that's why he will destroy you, because he's bigger than you, Earl, and he probably hit you harder. And you'll ask, can he take your punch? But I'll be wondering, can you take his? I be wanting to count Canelo. Like I want Bivol to win this weekend, but that damn Canelo shock you every time. I think he's above you and Bud. See, that's how I feel. I can say that. I can say that with a straight face. I think Bud is a better fighter than Canelo, just like I think Bud is a better fighter than Errol. But I think Canelo will beat them both. That's just my opinion. PGA said, "What plan does Bud have? What plan does Bud again? Make the Spence and cut the BS." You still not answering the question, D Young. I'm gonna let you get in for a second. What you got on it?
What's going on, Miss T? How you doing?
Hey, what's up? Am I cooking?
Yeah,
Somebody
yeah,
not answering the question.
yeah. You cooking, man. I mean, they can say whatever they want to say about make the fight, man. It ain't up to Bud. It's up to PBC. These niggas gotta send the contract. We in May. We in May. It's been 3 weeks since Earl fight, but I just feel that I feel the PBC doing a disservice to him. If you ask me, like you got
To
all this money
Spence?
for, yeah, you got all this money for Canelo, 55 and $45 million. But you can't get the man what he so say he wanted to be undisputed champion of the world. Shit, make it make sense, man. If you got 45 million for Canelo, you can't give these boys a fraction, 10 apiece, 15 apiece. Like, let's get this shit going. But it's just, to be honest, man, it's just looking like Al Heyman just trying to throw Spence into the fire just to get his revenues and shit back up. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. It's shit just getting aggravating, man. That's why I hadn't really been on a lot of shit, man. Just I mean, I'm not emotionally attached. It's just I love the sport of boxing, man. I want to see the best fight the best. That's why I've been on the UFC shit. You know what I mean? So it's yeah, man. Shit just getting frustrating, man. Like we don't need this shit to happen in 2023. We need this shit to happen right now in 2022.
I agree. I agree. Now I feel like PBC has done Errol Spence a disservice. I've said this for months. How much hating am I doing on Errol? None. I'm calling it like it is. I'm calling it balls and strikes. That man should have been getting $10 million plus a fight. Been. Like he just said. Like D Young just said. What's the holdup?
Yeah, what is, man? What's the holdup? This the fight that everybody want to see. A contract should have been delivered to Crawford. Crawford even exposed their ass last week at the Shakur fight. Nothing has been sent to me yet. So everybody that's in the chat talking about Bud need to sign a contract, how the fuck you gonna sign a contract if nothing ain't been sent?
That's a
Fucking
good
them,
question.
fucking Neanderthals, man.
Maceo Golden said, "You need to stop the bullshit. Tell your boy to send the contract. He's supposed to be the
Yeah,
east, the
yeah.
the, the
He
east
talking
side
to that other guy.
big fish." Oh, okay.
Yeah, he talking to
That
the he
contract.
talking to Buddy.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, man. That shit, yeah, shit just getting aggravating, man. And if Earl decided to take that right to go fight Canelo, hey, well, we just know that's his retirement plan.
Who would be mad if they put that out on Front Street? Like, you think that Bud fans would be mad? I wouldn't be mad because I would not be able to say, why wouldn't he? You have an
Oh no,
opportunity to fight Canelo
yeah,
for
fuck
10
this,
plus
this, this,
million.
yeah, Miss T. That's I can't be mad at Earl Spence for taking that fight. Fuck, he the cash cow. He know he gonna get some money off of it. But we all do know if you fight that nigga, you cashing out, and that's your retirement plan.
And you're avoiding Bud.
Yeah, yeah, that too. Yes,
I
ma'am, that
mean,
too.
the
Let's call a
problem
spade a
is
spade.
exactly. And the problem is we calling a spade a spade. That was done in secrecy. But you got your fans out here talking outside of their neck saying this, that, and the other. A lot of shit ain't true. Giving dates, saying Bud signed with this person. The part that got me was like, people have showed who Bud was signed with, but yet people still attach him to Bob, even though you saw him fire Bob with your own eyes in that press conference after Sean Porter fight. Yeah, everybody saw it,
Yeah,
but they were still attaching with him.
yeah.
They would say BGH, I'm gonna get on you now. Take your blood pressure pills, but you would say he do bad business. I don't know
Yeah,
how that's
yeah. Hey,
bad
hey,
business.
Miss T. So it's bad business that your manager got you over 3 million guaranteed in the welterweight division. One of the probably making more than anybody in the welterweight division. Probably maybe not as much as Manny Pacquiao at the time, but you know what I mean. Like who's getting
Guaranteed.
that? Who's getting those guarantees at that division?
Only Bud.
Only Bud. So that just kills all that bullshit people talk about. He did bad business and why he's suing them. Well, that's just like if a motherfucker at your job or your boss owe you money. What you gonna do if he don't fucking pay you?
That's a good analogy right there.
Come on, man. Niggas need to cut the cap with that dumb shit. At
If
least he
you
had the
working
balls
for,
to. And you know what, Miss T? We
mm-hmm.
give Bud credit because he didn't handle it like a nigga. He handled it professionally. He waited until his contract was up to say, you know, man, he can't do shit for me, and I'm about to slap his ass with this lawsuit.
Exactly.
He handled
I'd
it
rather for him
professionally.
to, as he say, as he coined the phrase, handle it like a nigga, talk shit, because we can look back in the past. If you don't look at the past to help you guide to the future, I don't know what's wrong with you. You can look at what Mikey Garcia, he let it be known. Other people let it be known, and they got shelved. They got shelved. They didn't get shit. Their careers absolutely got destroyed. I don't think that
Yes,
Bud's
indeed.
career is destroyed. I think Bud didn't live up to his capacity, like what he could have got, and that's a fact. He wasn't able to gain, whether it's his fault or somebody else's fault. He wasn't able to be what he absolutely could have been and could have been getting. Because to me, Errol Spence and him should have been in the 10 millions plus long time ago.
Yeah,
Long time.
that and Miss T, that's why they should have fought whenever the buzz was hot back in 18. You got like that's the thing I'll be saying. These guys been linked together since 2016 after the John Molina fight where Crawford had got unified after the Victor Poster fight in 2016. I think that was in December. Max Kellerman asked him, he was like, you know, you Terrence, you run through these guys, but who do you think is a guy that's special? In my mind, Max Kellerman said this. In my mind, it's a guy like Errol Spence. And he was like, of course, that'd be a great fight. He had 147, I'm at 140, but sure, we could make that happen. And ever since then, their names been twined together. And it's just, man, it's just like, dog, they should have been had this shit going. But then again, you know, the PBC, how they do business, whenever they top guy is lined up with another top guy, they don't do the business. They didn't even make Spence and Keith Thurman. And that's an in-house fight. But something telling me that shit coming up soon.
Yeah. I can see that. I'm not saying that there's malicious intent upon Bud or Earl. Hear me good. But when you got people treating them like commodities, because that's what they treating them like. These promoters are treating these fighters like they're commodities, like they're not living, breathing things. You know, they treating them how they want to treat them, because all they are to them is a dollar. They don't give a fuck about how Earl gets up and trains and do what he do and all the stuff he been through and came back and, putting his life on the line. They don't care what Bud doing, and his training and all of these men getting up in the middle of the night running, doing shit none of us would do. None. Al Heyman ain't doing this shit. Bob Arum ain't doing this shit. But all they are to them is a dollar.
Yeah.
And you cannot run a business where there's people involved when the product is the person like that. Because you're crossing that line to me. You're almost running it like you're a master and a slave.
Yeah. Hey, Miss T, and that was a shout out to Coach Malachi. He broke the promoter position down great today. I don't know if you listened to his show earlier today, but he definitely broke that shit down to T. I was like, damn. So I didn't know that if the more that the fighter makes, the less the promoter gets. I didn't know that shit. You know what I mean?
I
So
didn't know that either.
yeah. So definitely shout
Check
out
it
to
out.
Coach Malachi.
Look who in the building. Hold on, let me get this chat. Maceo said he just wants to cash out and retire because he know Bud gonna fuck his ass up. And Shelton Moore, where you been all my life? Did you get you a new phone? Miss T, it's called being a professional prize fighter. Yeah, I mean, yes, that's part of it. But you running this shit like a hedge fund. And I just don't think the two match. I'll give you an example. I don't care what y'all say, because I look at history and I judge by history. And you can be the judge for yourself. But as for me, when you are a businessman and that's your motto, you're like straight businessmen and how that model works does not work exactly favorable when you're running a government. Now, although the government is goods and services, products, supply and demand, you would think it'd be kind of comparable or the same, but it's not. It has been proven that good or great businessmen do not fare better when they run the government and vice versa, because there is a difference. Okay. And I'm going to say the same thing in the boxing world. Boxing should not be ran like a hedge fund or that type of business model. You know, you got people at the PBC who've claimed they didn't get a check. And what's going on with their money? It's like, I owe you. I owe you. Are you fucking crazy? You tell me go cut a grass and I tell you that's going to be $50. Nigga, when I'm done cutting the grass, run me my $50.
You
Oh,
know what I mean?
shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to need you to put that 50 in my hand immediately. It ain't no later, next week or whatever. If that was the case, tell me that ahead of time. And then
Yep.
I can decide, okay, yeah, I'll collect next week, but I'll do all the work this week. That's called good business. Just because you enter into an agreement or business with somebody and you doing your part, but they're not doing theirs, you cannot turn around and look at the person who's doing theirs and living up to the agreement and say you do bad business. That's not bad business. That's you trusted, you entered an agreement and it didn't work for you. That can happen to any of us. But fortunately in this country, you have a recourse and it's called lawsuit. A
Yep.
lawsuit.
Yes,
Especially when you're talking that type of money. I
yeah.
mean, somebody said it in here. People get killed over $50 when you owe somebody some money like that.
So what you think they're gonna do for $900K or $1 million?
For 900, yeah, 900 to $1 million, because
You
that's
know?
what Bob owed him. Plus, he
Yep.
owed him for a fight that he didn't give him. So we know at a minimum that's 3. So now we talk about $4 million plus the added extras or whatever.
Yep.
But Terrence's lawsuit said 10. You know, we have to read the fine print to figure out how they come up with that number. Now, when you sue somebody, you can get damages and all other stuff that you didn't ask for. The team who lose has to pay for all the court proceedings and the other person's lawyer. Shit work like that sometimes. You think Bob want that? But I think Bob really don't want the discovery part of it. Because
Yeah.
now all his secrets out.
Yeah.
And once they come out, if he did some nefarious shit, somebody else can be like, why yeah, the judge told me a suit together because I'm about to sue this nigga because I didn't know that shit. Go on and run that back. But getting back to where I was cooking at, Tom Brown comes out and he puts out what they was working on around the time Tim Smith made that statement. Even before that, they were working on trying to get Errol Spence a fight with Canelo. Errol Spence was a willing participant. He wanted to do it. And hey, Errol, ain't nobody mad at you for that. You know where you went wrong, Errol? He dropped out. The young dropped out. But you know where you went wrong, Errol? You did not have the fortitude to include your fans. You let them keep going on with their speculation, their narratives, and you did not try to curtail that. And that is a fourth plan. That is another plan that has nothing to do with Terrence Crawford. We all sitting here thinking, okay, why the fight ain't happened? You got PGH vested in you who's saying, Bud, make the fight. Make the fight. You would allow PGH to sit there and have the perspective that Bud got to do something extra. You was ready to go off to Canelo. You could have easily got on your social media and said, hey, you know, they did throw this at me. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm going to tell y'all right now, if they throw this at me, I don't care if you guys mad. I'm going to go for it. When do I get with Canelo? I told y'all yesterday, Canelo took a page out of Floyd's book. He has already announced, not my words, it's what I read, that he got about 6 or 7 fights left and he done. He taking it back to the house. I'm just saying. So 6 or 7 lucky people gonna get that call. Because if you fight Canelo, you're gonna become a millionaire if you wasn't already. Point blank, period. So nobody can begrudge you for jumping in that water. Who the fuck can be mad at Errol Spence if that's what he said he wanted to do? We'll be like, Bud is fucked up. It does mean he ducked you, but shit, Bud, he about to get 20 million or 15 million, guaranteed. Plus whatever they got on the backside. He gonna get his ass whooped, but that's some good money for an ass whooping. I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? Renaissance Rain said, right. Zero integrity on Spence part. That's part of the degenerate Crawford. What is this? Denigrate. Oh, that's part of the denigrate Crawford to build up Spence hype. Errol Spence and his fans, you guys can't see how that's kind of shady to do or to handle like that. You got people on Bud's side arguing with people on Spence side, and people on Spence side arguing with people on Bud's side. But when either one of them withhold information that's pertinent to what we arguing about, you don't think that was pertinent to tell your fans? You thought that would be a good idea to keep it secret? And here's another thing. If that's what you did recently, you ain't wake up overnight and start being like that. You always been like that. I'm sorry. You in your 30s, shawty. You didn't wake up like that. I woke up like this. No. You been like this. So if you lied, and sometimes when you omit shit, that's a lie too. So when you lie, what I'm supposed to think this was your first time out the box with that? Make sure y'all hit the like button. You might not like what I'm saying, but hit that motherfucking like button. Sheldon Moore said, Tim Smith told us that PBC is not in the T-Bud business. Exactamundo. And I said earlier when I was cooking, you know, thanks D Young for getting on. I saw your private chat. I said earlier, if you're not in that business, did you at least let your boy know? Now, I think that's shady. Don't y'all think? Even just a little bit. Don't you think that that's shady to let your boy walk around and be in the dark? But you guys know what y'all doing behind closed doors. So when people make the argument, was it Bud? Was it Bob Arum that fucked Bud up from getting a fight? Why he ain't suing PBC? Do you guys know how crazy y'all sound when y'all say that? Sue him how? Come on here and walk me through, how does Bud sue the PBC or Earl? Please enlighten us. Enlighten us on how a fighter can sue another fighter because that other fighter don't want to fight him. Or how a fighter can sue a company that they don't have no contract with. Enlighten me, please. Inquiring minds would love to know that shit. because never in the history of this country could you do that. But Bud, however, did have a contract with Bob Arum. So now I'm going to call it 4 plans Errol Spence had. He abandoned the first 2. Because the third one that I called in recent times was his plan, 2 more fights and he gone. Well, what if them 2 fights be Keith Thurman or somebody else? You gone? How do we know that them 2 fights inclusive of Bud? But we can hope. I didn't give up on the ship. I was like, I hope that one of those 2 fights is Bud. I hope. Now, Tom Brown, who is the guy who works at PBC, he's the guy who matches these fights up. He's the guy who put up that money. He does that boxing because Al Heyman ain't, I don't think, really in the know of how he has experts around him to handle the parts of boxing business that he might not be that well versed in. I'm gonna just say it like that. I'm assuming by now he is well versed, but he has sense enough to know to bring people around who's more well versed in matchmaking and putting fights together and splits and all that and putting up the money, whatever. Al Heyman just knows how to get investors in. That's his specialty. Okay. So 4 plans, y'all. So you was working on that 4th plan all along. None of us knew. Now you want to tell us, and it's probably because you don't want people to keep pushing for the Earl and Terrence fight. So to deflect, because once again, PBC has made it known they ain't got nothing for Bud. So to get the pressure off, to get everybody, you, me, whether you for Bud or not, whether you for Earl or not, to shut the fuck up about these 2 fighters, you behind the scenes working on getting him a fight with Canelo. And now that it fell through, you want somebody to talk about something else, because right now, everybody back is against the wall. Bud ain't got nowhere else to go. Earl ain't got nowhere else to go. So now what y'all gonna say? What is it logically you can say? Because whatever you say, PBC, the ball is really in your court. The ball is in your court. And I think a lot of people, after a few more weeks, is going to hit the fan because they're like, where the motherfucking contract? You want to tell us how it was always in the works for Ugas fight, as if before Pacquiao and him ever even heard the bell ring, y'all already had it set up for Earl and Ugas. When you didn't even pay Stanionis until either the end of December or beginning of January, step aside. When we all know that Ugas was put in a predicament where he had to fight Stanionis in a tournament. Why we know this? Go back and watch Ugas' social media. He was crying to everybody but Santa Claus, talking about how unfair it was. I don't speak Spanish, but y'all know what the fuck he was saying. Hey, this ain't right. You're fucking with me. You're taking my opportunity to make money and move my career how I want to move it. He was crying to everybody, y'all, but Santa Claus, to get him out of that shit. So how did you have a fight secured when he was locked in to the Stanionis fight? So that goes that narrative. Oh, they already had that fight already. It was already put together already. No, it was in process of being worked. And it probably got speeded up toward, and it makes sense for them to secure the shit around the end of December, beginning of January or whatever, because Errol Spence probably looked at them and said, you got to be kidding me, right? I'm the big fish in this bitch. Errol Spence is a guppy compared to me. I'm just saying, what Canelo probably, I'm speculating here, was thinking in his head. The fuck I need a Errol Spence for? What is he gonna give me? Then you gonna try to tell me to come down to 164 like you got some leverage up in this bitch? Nigga, didn't y'all just pay me $40 million for Caleb Plant? You can't even pay this nigga more than $2 million a fight. And I'm supposed to bend to him? Big Fish for what? What belt he got at 160 anything? Tell me when he outdo my pay-per-views. When has he ever been undisputed and a champion in multiple weight classes? Don't worry, I'll wait. In my E-Thriller voice, I will fucking wait. That's what Canelo was saying. That's what he probably, you cannot deny that that's what's going on in his mind. He's laughing at the PBC. Really, y'all? Errol Spence? I'm not taking away from the man, but he got Terrence Crawford problems. He need to handle that. Remember when Mayweather told Pacquiao, you got Marquez problems. When Marquez knocked him out, don't come up here talking that rah-rah. Didn't you just get knocked out? Errol Spence, you've been in 147 damn near all your whole career. I understand that you fought a couple of times in 154. You ain't leave your mark up there. So pretty much we're not even counting that. But you've been at 147. And then you got 3 belts. But back then, at the time, you had 2. And I'm supposed to give a fuck what you feel and what you think. And I'm supposed to bend to y'all in any kind of way, shape, or form. Really? I bet Canelo had a good motherfucking laugh at PBC and Earl. But Earl, if you had shared it with your fans, leadership, attitude reflect leadership. Nobody, not even Bud fans, and I would call Bud fans out. None of us can begrudge you for taking that opportunity. Are you crazy? It's an opportunity of a lifetime. Why would we begrudge you? We'd be like, Bud, it sucked, it's fucked up, and yeah, we can say he ducked you, but shit, it's Canelo. He about to get all kinds of millions. It's Canelo. But you might just have to wait. Now that is, between them two both, the big fish. But that's plan number 4 for me. So, how you working on another plan but you ain't tell your people? You never try to update them. You never tried to curtail none of this shit. All these narratives, all this bullshit, you let it be what it be. You let people get so upset with each other that they damn near be threatening each other off of how they see things. I can have an opinion, somebody else have an opinion. People want to go to blows over people's opinions, over you two motherfuckers. Attitude reflect leadership. If you gonna lie to the public and everything, because omitting shit too is a lie. It's a soft lie. You know, but y'all notice I don't do this. It's a white lie. Remember that shit back in the day? I don't do that shit no more. It's a soft lie. It's either a hard lie or soft lie with me. You know, sometimes you can't always tell everybody everything. But in this Errol Spence, you should have had the fortitude to update your fans on what your plans were. Because they out here caking for you. Hard. Oh, they love you. I think it's admirable to a certain extent. When rationale and logic leaves and common sense is nowhere to be found, that's a bridge too far, Earl. And a lot of your fans have this issue. You never updated your people. Now, Tom Brown stuck his foot in his mouth. I'm sure people can feel that way. Tim Smith definitely stuck his foot in his mouth. You can't take it back. You can't take it back. You could have said that, Tom Brown, when you was on the stage with motherfucking Bud Crawford. When Bud said reverse that shit, say that shit again. Why you ain't say it then? Well, actually, Bud, we have a great or a unique opportunity to face Canelo. That's the sweepstakes. You can't be mad at Earl for wanting to get a piece of that pie, can you? So we definitely gonna stick to our plans, but should that arise and become an opportunity for us, I'm just letting you know ahead of time that we're gonna do that. We're gonna take that. That's the only thing that would keep us from fighting you. He couldn't say that then. Even he was mum's the word. Bud cannot sue anybody at PBC for none of this, y'all. He cannot sue Errol Spence for none of this. If your brain told you that, they told you wrong. Get that shit out your head. That is not an option. Don't bring it up. Don't put no spin on it or no stank on it, because that's bullshit. That is straight bullshit. Don't do it. So are they, the PBC that is, have the same notion about Bud as they did when Tim Smith said what he said? That's the question today. It seemed like the PBC is butthurt that Canelo laughed at their ass. Like, nigga, please. Who the fuck is Errol Spence? He your fucking daddy. He your superhero. He ain't mine. That's what Canelo was basically saying. So do the PBC still feel the same way about Bud? That's the question. And every day they don't send a contract over, it makes you wonder. The other part of the controversy that I'm going to say that be in the way, and I'm going to try to get through this because I've been here long now. I done put the link in the chat. I'll put it again if anybody want to add to it or whatever. But we're going to talk about what Cap's been talking about. So I'm going to try to run through this. Okay. The clean boxing program is starting to look like smoke and mirrors to me. The more Caps put out his information, it's starting to look like smoke and mirrors. Now, this is a big fight between Bud and Errol, and it's very controversial. So what you don't want is no hiccups on any of it. You don't want no blemish. You don't want to give it a black eye. You don't want them to have any kind of controversy that make people it just prevents them from just giving it up to the nigga. If Errol Spence won, give it up to him. If Terrence win, give it up to him. I don't want to go back and say, but, and y'all know some of the things that can make me say, but. I don't like the low blows. That can make me say, but. I don't think that will hold Terrence back, but shit, let's not have that. But ain't nothing I can do about that. That's up on the referee. That's up to Bud's team to be like, hey, when they talk to you in the back, hey, this nigga is notorious for throwing low blows. And for Earl to say, hey, this nigga is notorious for XYZ, whatever that is, that Earl has a problem with. I'm sure he does have one. A problem with something that he needs to address. I'm expecting both gentlemen to say that to the ref prior to the fight. But hey, then it falls into the ref hands. But the clean boxing program, is it really clean? First of all, understand this. That clean boxing program with the WBC does not start until a date is announced. Let me repeat that. It doesn't start until a date is announced. When the fighter, whoever has the leverage, in this case would be Big Fish, aka Errol Spence, when he decides when we're going to announce this fight. Because if he announced the fight, he's got to come with some dates. And the minute they call a date, from that date until maybe a week out from their fight, like after their fight, that is the range of when testing goes down. Let me repeat so I can get it to the people in the back. Hit the like button. From the day that the fighter who has the leverage, the A-side fighter, announced the date of the pending fight to maybe a week, if not the day of the fight. But it's going to be like after the fight. So that is the range of the time that the clean boxing program test will be going on. It is understood by VADA and the WBC that the WBC prefers post-fights. And let me repeat that. It is understood by VADA and the WBC that they prefer the post-fight. That means urine, maybe blood. Post-fight brings inherent problems because people cycle off drugs as time go on. So if you don't catch the fighters before they go into camp, which an average camp is 8 weeks. So if you don't catch them before the camp and during the camp, every time a week or so pass, they are cycling off. And when the test is administered, they're going to look at a ratio of testosterone to something else, something about isotopes. And it's usually in men, it's going to be 1-to-1. It could be 2-to-1. Every man's different. But here's the wrinkle. Remember this part. Every state has their own athletic commission and their own labs and their own rules of that ratio. For instance, Nevada, Vegas, i.e. Vegas, 6-to-1. California, 3-to-1. Something like that. That's different, right? New York might be 2-to-1. I don't know. I don't know what New York is. But every state can have a difference of what they call normal for the ratio. But if you're doing Olympic style testing, it's 1-to-1. That's normal. That has already been predetermined. They know this for years, for decades. They know. But the states give a little wiggle room. No more different than if Virginia had 0.5 as the legal limit to consume alcohol and drive, but then Georgia might have 0.8. I don't know because I don't drink. So I'm just giving an example. Can you see how that can be a problem? Different states can have different limits. I don't know if 0.5 is you're more drunk than 0.8. I don't know. Like I said, I don't drink. But you know what I'm saying? From state to state to state, you got to deal with a different ratio. In lies a problem. But you just remember that, hold that piece of information. So most times, no test. When you're talking the clean boxing program, most of the time there is no test done before the fight because they rather do post. But WBC have it so that they have their top 15 ranked people on the hook for these tests. Now, I'm sure over time, they got to figure out a way that is more budgetable, budget-wise, is feasible for their budget. In other words, it's not a year-round test. If that's what you thought, get that out your head too. It's not a year-round test. And every time that you about to have a fight and you're going up for the WBC, because according to the WBC, you have to be complicit with their clean boxing program. You have to enter into it voluntarily. Okay, so you're subject to random tests, right? Every time you have a fight, this is why that letter can go out saying, welcome to the clean boxing program. Because it's not year round. So if anybody tells you, oh, I'm talking about Terrence and Earl, so don't get butthurt. Bud would not have been subject to the clean boxing program because he don't have a WBC belt. This is why I mentioned Earl. So y'all take y'all blood pressure pill. If somebody tells you Earl been in it way back when Pacquiao, I just told you, every time they have a fight, they enter into it again because it has a start date and it has an end date. When you have an end date, that emphatically means you have to re-enter. Now, I don't know what part of that nobody can understand, but that's what that means. So you have to listen with the third ear when people telling you stuff. I read this from their website and I was listening to what Captain G Fool said, and this is how I get my information. I went to the source. I can read and comprehend. And then I listened to Captain G Fool, how he broke it down. I'm like, yep, that's what my interpretation was. Okay. So as I said, you take some drugs prior to your camp. Throughout your camp, you're cycling off. And you still gonna get the full benefits of the drug. And by the time they get to you post-fight, your ratio is normal. You see how you can sneak that shit in? See how you can sneak and cheat and get away with it? It's not bulletproof. It's not bulletproof either way. It's not bulletproof that we catching all cheaters. It's not bulletproof that we might not catch cheaters or we will catch a cheater. How did I just say it? It's not bulletproof that they can catch a cheater or not. It's definitely loopholes or wiggle room, to say the least. Now, VADA itself administratively in the WBC clean boxing program, I want to paint this picture real clear. VADA, if you look at them as phlebotomists and laboratory test givers or whatever, whether they come to your house or you go to somewhere that's centrally located or whatever, all they are is administratively collecting your stuff. That's it. Because once they collect your stuff, in order for it to be on the up and up, straight, beyond reproach, legit, can't even refute none of that shit, it has to go to WADA. But when you're working with clean boxing program with the WBC, in that instance, VADA is just basically an administrative collecting your samples, and they got 36 hours to get to, not just WADA. They can't, it's not something saying you got to send it to WADA. A lab. It could go to Quest Laboratories. It could go to laboratories that have no experience in this shit or really be, do work like this. It can go to any lab. It can go to the Athletic State Commission of the state you're in. They just got 36 hours to get it to a lab. Why 36 hours? Because people know medically that when you collect cells die. They have a shelf life. You can't do tests on frozen cells. You just can't. It's a medical fact, right? Or maybe not. Maybe this new invention I don't know about, but they don't usually do tests on frozen shit. Okay? Frozen shit even have a shelf life. You could, like, if you froze your body today and unthawed it 100 years from now, and let's say just the freezing of it all and unthawing was safe and we figured out how to do that, you would disintegrate right before somebody's eyes within minutes because you still will be 100 plus years old. And at that age, you was going to die anyway, If you're 40 now, you got frozen, woke up 100 years from now, within minutes of waking up or being thawed out, you're going to die. They haven't found a way to reverse shit like that. And in fact, there's only one cell on God's green earth, that can live no matter where you put it. They done sent this thing out to space. They done left it on the table. They done did everything. They done threw it in the dryer. They done did everything to see if this cell died, and it doesn't. And it's called a helo cell, owned by a human being who's been dead for over 50 plus years, Henrietta Lacks. Y'all know the story. She's the only one whose cells live forever. Earl Spence cells ain't gonna live forever. My cells ain't gonna live forever. Bud Crawford cells ain't gonna live forever. No fighter that you know, whether you like them or not, their cells ain't gonna live forever. So hence, when they collect your samples, to be prudent and practical, you got 36 hours to get it to a lab. And it's going to be carried in the cooler, and it's going to be cooled to a certain temperature that makes it viable. They ain't going to have it in nothing hot as a bitch, 105 degrees Fahrenheit or some shit. They ain't going to have it in that. They ain't going to have it in nothing that's freezing. Because then when it gets to the lab, it's going to get tested. So it's going to be at the proper temperature until they can get it to the lab. That's how VADA works with the clean boxing program. They're not necessarily sending it to WADA. In case any of us thought that, it's not being done. They sending it to whatever laboratories. We don't even know. So how clean is it? That was one kind of like my question. How clean is it? But if you go to VADA on your own, not trying to be a part of clean boxing program. So in this case, I'm going to use Terrence as an example. Terrence is not part of the WBC. He's not ranked. He's not none of that. And when he fights Earl, then he will be in conjunction with them. But until that day, he doesn't have to be a part of the clean boxing program. He's not a part of it. So Terrence could decide on his own to go to VADA. And VADA, as an entity on its own, not in conjunction with Mauricio Sulaiman, if you go to them, the 36 hours is still the same. Get it to the lab. But the lab will be WADA. And you can elect to do it on your own. You can also elect to do it year-round. You're going to pay. The pay is like between $300 to $500. You're talking millionaires. They got that money. Terrence can do that. No problem. And that's how VADA do when it's on its own. So maybe they need to ask questions like this of a Nonito Donaire, because he does it all year, right? He's one of them people that make sure he clean. So let me move past the 36 hours. Every state has their own lab, like I said. Results are given to the WBC, Mauricio Sulaiman, the fighter, and his team if it's positive. They are given to Mauricio Sulaiman also if it's negative. But according to their rules, they will never, ever, ever, ever put out a name and the results of a positive result on the website. They just won't do it. And I don't blame them. They don't have to do that. If it's positive, it goes, Mauricio knows, the fighter themselves knows, and their team knows, and the promoter. But they're not going to broadcast or put online or put on their website a positive results. That's just, it is what it is. But if it's negative, when it comes to Mauricio Sulaiman, he definitely will put your name up there and your negative results. Is that breaking HIPAA? Probably is, because you're not supposed to give no information. But that's up to the fighters if they want to pursue something legal in the grounds of HIPAA violation. That's up to them. Or maybe they sign something saying, with that voluntary thing, that they know that that's what he's going to do and they cool with it. But you can't never put negative, like, now you can say negative. You can't never put adverse results out on people, because you really are crossing the line at that point. So we know how Mauricio and them put the list out. Now Mauricio and them said that they put out a list every month. I told you guys all the time, I be looking. As far as I'm concerned, and I'm only going by the list that Mauricio put out, it's not enough that you tell me you're in the program. I'm looking for the list. And according to the list, Errol Spence was not on that list. Not for the Ugas fight. So that means he didn't get tested for the Ugas fight. That's my conclusion. You guys can have your own conclusion. He didn't get tested for the Ugas fight. I've waited and waited and waited. If a test result come out right now, I'm going to assume that it was done 36 hours or less. Don't forget that part. I'm not going to assume that it had anything to do with the Ugas fight. That's what I'm not going to do. He wasn't on the list. And now, if somebody dropped the ball, I suggest that Earl Spence and his team need to get at their necks because they got him looking crazy out here, in my opinion. I'm only talking about what I see and what is. Can't get mad at facts. Facts over feelings, right? Now, I told y'all the test starts after the fight is announced and usually ends the week after the fight, or if not the night of the fight after it's over. It's not an all-year test. So it's a range. So remember that when y'all be saying he's been in the program. Once you have an end date, you have to re-enter. And if you have an end date, you must have a start date. And if you have a start date, you must have an end date when you're dealing with the WBC, because that's how they do it. It's not all year round. Remember that when y'all formulate y'all hypothesis or your arguments or when you get in debates, remember that. You can't have a number one and don't have a number two. That's bad writing. So you can't have an end date, but you don't have a start date. Same thing. So every time you enter the CBP clean boxing program, it works like that because it's not all year round. Like I said, it don't matter if you enter it last year or not because they do it in ranges, not all year. So you have to keep re-entering. Every fight date, I said all that. Now, this is the strategy. If you're a person who is engaging in cheating, if your fight is, I gave this yesterday, if your fight is October 1st and you come out and announce the fights and the dates because you're the A side, September 15th, guess what? All you gave VADA is 2 weeks to random test you. If you took something, you pretty much cycled off by now. See how that works? See how that works? So, I mean, pretty much those are the controversies that I see. Is with those plans, the fourth plan, the plan we just found out about. Like you was all too willing to jump in there with Canelo, but you won't telling your fans. If you ain't gonna tell Bud, tell your fans. You won't telling them. They was still on the notion that you the big fish, you about to go wreck shop. You ain't get the fight, not because you ain't want the fight, because Canelo laughing at y'all. You a guppy to him. You know, Canelo didn't say that, but come on. How can we not see that? Who's the big fish between them two? Really, even his fans got to capitulate and say Canelo is the big fish. Canelo gets the most pay-per-views. Every little criteria they like to use. Well, Earl, let's use that. Canelo get the most pay-per-views. Canelo gets the most guaranteed money. And Canelo do what the fuck he want to do. He just had a one-fight deal where PBC paid him $40 million. They won't even give you $10 million. And I think that's a travesty. PBC, y'all know y'all wrong on a lot of levels. Y'all should have been paid that man. Talking Earl Spence, $10 million plus. They ain't got shit to do with, but y'all should have been paid that man that amount of money plus. He the big fish. He the big fish. But y'all didn't. Y'all want to hand them some measly $1.5 million or $2 million guarantee. Y'all let this man walking around in the dark. There's a part of me that really believes that they did that. There's a small part of me. But then the other part be like, ain't no fucking way. You know, I got to go by how Earl spins it. I'm the big fish. I'm the boss. I'm the heavy lifter. Come on, dog. They can't be keeping you in the dark. You have 4 plans. You got your fans arguing tooth and nail, talking about you did everything you said you're going to do. How's that doing everything you say you do when you got 4 plans? You're not sharing? you did not take a test, according to the WBC, their list, I don't give a care whether you was in the program. Apparently, you didn't take a test because I read for myself, they got 36 hours to turn in your samples. Now, either they botched your shit, didn't turn it in on time, destroyed it, in which you have to get at that point a custody receipt of showing what happened to your shit. Produce that shit. Then I will change my mind. But as per WBC, we're going to put out this list. They didn't put you on the list. What the fuck is wrong here? Is that Bud fault? Is that Spence fans fault? No. Is that even Spence himself fault? I don't think so. If you taking the test, you need to get it there next. There can't be no faux pas like this. And then the breakdown of how the clean boxing program actually works. Is it really clean? Is it really on the up and up? I'm going to look into snack. I doubt if I find much. But shit, if we're not going to be mad at others who own snack, it's going to be hard for me to be mad at Bud. Bud was on snack before the Porter fight. Nobody cared because they just knew Porter was going to whoop his ass. But that's my time, y'all. I've been talking. I broke down the controversy as I see fit. Now that Tom Brown has come out, I waited a couple of days to see. Here we are almost in the middle of the month. I'm giving it to the 15th of May to see if Big Fish gonna send the contract. If he not, I'm done with it. I'm done in believing that this fight is even gonna happen. And with the recent shit that Tom Brown said, you guys are a bunch of liars over there at PBC, including Earl, because y'all didn't update the fans on none of this shit. Now y'all want to come out here and say it. Either you trying to shit on Canelo or you trying to deflect the pressure that's coming at Earl and Bud, because them two don't got nowhere to go. They got to face each other. So I don't know no more. And I guess they playing flinch. If Bud said fuck it, because if he says fuck it in the times that come up, then he gonna say it out of frustration and he gonna move up, because why wait for him? He ain't never gonna get it done. And am I putting everything on Earl? No, because Earl is not his own boss. I done told y'all that. Earl worked for them or worked with them. I like to say he worked with them. But hell, they carry him like he worked for them. They do him wrong too. So, I don't know. The boxer section is in the building. Salute, Kyle. Salute to my dogs in the chat. Light speed is up in here. No lie. If that fight don't happen, Derek James and that whole squad on my shit list. Exactly. How much more can we take? You can pull the trigger real quick with Ugas, but you can't with Bud. Y'all know we was waiting on it. Y'all knew that Earl was going to wash Ugas. Why wasn't the contract being doctored up then, before the fight? We almost a month out. Mother's Day is this weekend. And shout outs to all the mothers. And I like to say happy Mother's Day to some fathers who fulfilling both roles too. Because, I fulfilled both roles when I was raising my kids. And my daughter got a funny name that she called me. She tried to combine mother and father together. But sometimes it be like that out there in the world. If you're providing the role of mother and father, shout outs to you this weekend too. It's a celebration for you too. And shout outs to all the mothers, on Mother's Day. Because Sunday I probably won't be on here. I'm hoping, y'all. I'm hoping that my daughter, I'll find out, did she give me tickets to see the one and only Elton John? I know y'all say, T, what? Child, let me tell you. I'm a true Elton John fan over here, boy. What? Whew. It's between something he would have wore that I'm going to dress up this year for Halloween, or I'm going to do my Star Trek stuff. And by the way, y'all, Star Trek got a new series NC 1701 is back in effect, and this time it's headed by Captain Pike, who came right before James Tiberius Kirk. I know y'all like, damn girl, you a Trekkie? I sure am. I is. I is. Lightspeed laughing. Dude, it's 2 series on Paramount. I got Paramount just for the Star Trek series. And then they came out with this second series. What? Y'all know how I fulfill my days sometimes. Man, I'm a Trekkie to the hilt. I gotta design me a good costume. I'm gonna start working on it now because I gotta be fly when Halloween come. I probably wear a costume for at least 1 week leading up to Halloween. I don't know if I should make myself a lieutenant commander or a commander. I don't want to be a captain because I want to get my hands dirty. I want to be on the ship, the starship and everything. That's Navy ship. That's all nautical shit right there. I love Star Trek. People like, which one? Star Wars or Star Trek? Star Trek. But I just spoke to you guys all night about facts. I didn't put my feelings in it. Some people gonna think I did. I'm sorry you feel that way. If you watch me on the replay, you can leave a message or whatever and tell me what you think. But those were all facts. These are all controversies between both of these fighters. And I don't see how they're getting fixed. And the more PBC talks, the more I see it ain't never gonna happen. So I am pissed. And I'm trying to control my anger, and I gave myself to May 15th because it doesn't take that long to send a term sheet over or at least a contract or something. Errol Spence, if you're the big fish, it is your job. PGAs love to say that Bud is his job, but he doesn't tell how. I'm agreeing with you guys. Spence is the A side. I'm going ahead and agree with that. He has the hardware. It's up to PBC and him to put together a contract. Are you still chasing Canelo? Is the question. Because Canelo don't care about you guys. Canelo don't even care about the people he should face. It's a lottery ticket to get in the fight with him. And trust me, you hit the motherfucking lottery. And this coming from a person who really don't care for Canelo. So the last thing I would do is cake for his ass. Everybody he fight, I want him to lose. Everybody. Because I can't stand the favoritism he get. Call that hating, whatever. But I ain't gonna lie on this shit. From the waist up, the motherfucker a beast. From the waist down, he suck eggs. Canelo don't have it from the waist down. He don't have good leg movement, good feet placement. I don't think Earl has the best. He might got it better than Canelo though. But the question is, yeah, Earl has thump in his shots, but so does Canelo. Earl like you right there in front of him. That's how he get you broke down. But so do Canelo. So who can take who punch and who can outlast who? That's what that kind of fight gonna look like to me. But wouldn't that be a fourth plan? You guys be the deciding factor on that. Like Speed said, I can forgive the Star Trek. You got me on that Elton John. Boy, I'm telling you, don't sleep on Elton John now. Elton John made some awesome ass songs every motherfucking decade. Let me tell y'all a statistical fact on him. In the late 60s, oh God, that motherfucker. He was very fortunate that he came into his own very, very early in his career. Like he was, a young man, like 20, 21 in the late 60s or whatever. So in late 60s, early 70s, he had classic songs to this day. It's thebomb.com to this motherfucking day. And you've heard him. You just didn't know it was him. But he was responsible. See, we think of buying music like we do now. And then go back in time when you actually had to buy a cassette tape or an actual record. Like you had to go to the store and buy them shits. You couldn't get them on your phone because we didn't have cell phones back then. We talking late 60s, early 70s. Elton John was responsible for 5% of records sold worldwide, not statewide, not United States as a whole, not England as a whole, worldwide. 5% of the records sold were his music. Tell me that motherfucker won't bad. Y'all got it fucked up. Elton John bad as a bitch. Not only did he command the late 60s, the whole 70s, and the 80s. Think about when MTV came out. This is my first introduction to Elton John in the 80s. Became a big fan. Think about The Lion King, y'all. Y'all see how big that was. Most of that music was him. So Lightspeed, Elton John the shit. And he's getting old. And he keeps saying, and somebody said, he keep having a last hurrah tour. But he's getting old and he's promising this is his last tour. No, I don't blame him. You can't do no more. I mean, you're getting up there in age. You can't move around. You don't even sound the same. But shit, I would love to see an Elton John show. I know most of the music. I'll be in that bitch teary-eyed, trying to sing with my bad voice, sing right along with him. But anywho, enough about that. I'm telling you, I'm gonna hit the roof if that's what that honey got me. Ooh, I'm gonna be like, girl, you're a good daughter. But anyway, when you know better, you do better. I hope me laying out the facts over feelings. As somebody said that to me before, I'm gonna use that D-Town blaster. Facts over feelings. I just laid out the facts. You know, if you're in your feelings, that's your fault. But when you know better, you do better. So I see you next week. Peace.